So if you're into the Criterion collection, then you should know that every November and July, Barnes & Noble has a 50% off sale of Criterion DVDs and Blu-rays. And so every year I get a nice big stack of them. And so I wanted to show you what I got this year. Just like my series on my collection of Criterions, I'm going to go around the world. But this time I think I'm going to start with the UK, with England and Ireland. So the first film is Hunger, directed by Steve McQueen from 2008. And the director of this movie isn't the actor Steve McQueen. He's a black man from North Ireland, or I think the UK. And this was in Alec Baldwin's top 10. And to be honest, I actually confused the director with the actor Steve McQueen. So that's why I've kind of been looking at it for a while, thinking about getting it. And on the website, the Criterion website, there's a still from this film where there's like a couple of POWs, IRA. It's about the Irish Republican Army. And there's a couple of prisoners in a jail cell covered with feces. And that interested me, so I decided to get this movie finally. And from England, I picked up this movie, Brief Encounter. Can you see that really well? Brief Encounter from 1945, directed by David Lean. It was part of the Essential Art House series that Janus Films made. That's the version of La Strada that I have. And this movie looked very noir style, although it's not a crime film. I think it's a romance. But lots of shadows and fog, deliberate uses of black and white, so that's why I got that one. And so that's all for the UK. And for next is France. So this movie, Grand Illusion. I actually did not get this at Barnes & Noble. I had to order this from Amazon. And as you can see, if this will focus, this came from the Queen's Public Library. And it's actually the #1 spine of the Criterion collection. And so this is a library edition. I have one more library edition Criterion movie. But yeah, the disc is really scratched up. You can't see it there, but I'm gonna have to try to clean it. But you know, it's a Jean Renoir film from 1938 about World War I. And the next one, interesting, The Red Balloon. This is a short film directed by, who directed this? Albert Lamouris. It's from the 50s, 1956. And it's a short film. It says 34 minutes. And I've seen this before. I thought this would be a good starting place for me to do like a critique or an analysis, because it's a little symbolic and interpretive. And what's interesting is, this will pick up, there's actually no Criterion spine on this. It's a Janus Films release. which is a sister company or a parent company of the Criterion Collection. But yeah, I picked this up. Next, I have 3 films by Louis Malle. Louis Malle's a French director whose movies were from the 70s. Although he did like he filmed Picasso making a painting, and that was pretty cool. But this movie in particular, Murmur of the Heart, is an incestuous love story about a mother and son. And the philosopher Slavoj Žižek recommended that. And what's interesting about this box set, you can see it's the old format, Criterions, and I opened up the supplements and I found this. It's a catalog of Criterion films that you can order, and it has spine number 1 through 218. Number 1 being Grand Illusion, of course, and then 218 being Le Cercle Rouge by Jean-Pierre Melville. And that's really interesting. Actually, I'm seeing now on the back it goes up to 325. Sorry about that. But yeah, I've never seen that before in these old Criterion format movies. You know, before they had the spine number. Also from Louis Malle, I got Eclipse Series 2. Let's see how well it picks up. This might be too bright in front of my window. I have a lamp, but I don't want my lamp to be too hot in this sport coat with my Homer Simpson fish pan. But anyways, documentaries by Louis Malle. And I haven't seen any of these yet, but one of these movies is a documentary about Mother Teresa in India. Yeah, it's about Mother Teresa helping the poor in India. And that footage from that documentary was actually in Woody Allen's movie Alice from the 80s. And okay, so that's it for the French films. I don't have any other European movies, which is kind of interesting because my next one is from North Africa, from Algeria. Battle of Algiers. And Algeria is a French-speaking country in North Africa. This is from 1966. Directed by, who directed this? Gio Pontecorvo. Gillo Pontecorvo. And this is a war film, I think. And what's cool about this is it was scored by Ennio Morricone. And I just so happen to have the soundtrack to it. I ordered this online, and unfortunately it has some writing up there that somebody made, but that's okay. And I don't know how many movies in the Criterion collection that Ennio Morricone scored, but he did score one that I also picked up, Days of Heaven. However, for some reason I lost that movie. I don't know where it is. But I also have that soundtrack. Nice little cover art on the back. So, moving further across the globe, I have Yi Yi, Taiwanese film from 2000. And I've seen this in a lot of closet pics. Sorry. So I think that's why I got it. And also, I'm pretty sure it's the only Taiwanese film in the Criterion collection. So, I haven't seen this. I don't know what it's about. But I've seen some stills of the movie on the Criterion website, and it looked pretty good. So, next I have a couple of samurai movies from Japan. I recently got the PlayStation game Ghost of Tsushima, and that's supposed to be very influenced by samurai movies. In fact, you can put it on what they call it Kurosawa mode, where it's in black and white and it's kind of grainy. And I read this article online about movies that you should watch after playing Ghost of Tsushima. And the first one on that list was this one, Harakiri. I've heard this pronounced Harikari, but I read it as Harikari, so Harikiri, so that's how I'm going to pronounce it. I don't know if it's the right way or not, but this is from 1962 and directed by Masaki Kobayashi. And I'm wondering if this is the only Toshiro Mifune role where Toshiro Mifune plays a proper samurai. I always see him playing Ronin, drifter samurai who didn't have a master. They weren't born of high birth or nobility. And Toshiro Mifune is always unshaven, and his character is always very emotional. But I think that in this one, he's a proper samurai who needs permission to commit Harakiri. And then the next one is Hidden Fortress. Can you see that? Yeah. Hidden Fortress, directed by Akira Kurosawa from 1958. And what interested me about this movie was I've heard that it inspired George Lucas when he was making Episode 4, A New Hope, of Star Wars, of course. How it starts off with the droids, and you see their point of view. So I've heard that this movie takes sort of that that idea. That George Lucas got it from this. Okay, and during my dig across the globe Criterion series of my collection, I did not have any Canadian films. I had at least one Cronenberg movie, Naked Lunch, but that was made in the US. However, I did get Eclipse Series 24, the actuality dramas of Alan King. And these are all documentaries. The first one, Warrendale, I've seen that one. It's about this psychiatric home for children in Toronto, I think, and it's from the '60s, and it was very unsettling seeing these disturbed children. It reminded me of somebody close in my life. Another one of these is called Come On Children from 1972. It says, inviting a group of disaffected teenagers to live on a farm, away from parental supervision for 10 weeks. King captures a posterity and oddly beautiful portrait of early 1970s alienation. And let's see if I can find it. Well, you can't see the cover art very well, but it's, long-haired youth playing guitar and whatnot. No, it looked pretty cool. But yeah, I'm excited to watch these documentaries by him. So now down to the US, staying with the documentary theme. I picked up Grey Gardens. And this is a box set, even though it's just a little Blu-ray, but it has the Beals of Grey Gardens, which I think it's a 2006 follow-up to, I guess, to The House. I'm pretty sure these women would be dead by then. If you haven't seen this documentary, Grey Gardens, I highly recommend it. It's one of the few things in the Criterion collection that I can watch with my grandmother. She doesn't want to watch foreign films, and weird things. I mean, I've showed her Eraserhead, and she had to leave during that. But another movie that I was able to watch with her is this one. Face in the Crowd. A Face in the Crowd. Starring Andy Griffith, directed by Elia Kazan, from 1957. And it's a different cover art than what I expected. I liked the old cover art for this movie better, where it's his face with the blue background, but it doesn't matter. It's still a great movie. And it's really interesting. This came out before the Andy Griffith Show started. So before that, his character, it's interesting to see him in this movie. And he's very Kazan-esque, I guess you could say. Erratic. Kind of like a Marlon Brando character. So, moving on. The last few are documentaries as well. This one, I've been thinking about getting this for a while. Crum, directed by Terry's Wig Off. This is from 1995. And it's about Robert Crum, famous cartoonist. You probably recognize his work from the Keep on Trucking poster, and also the Stoned Again poster where the guy's face is melting. Those are Robert Crum works. And also Fritz the Cat. And I have a couple of Robert Crum's a couple of books that he illustrated. I have one that's a series of, he made a series of trading cards about old blues, jazz, and country musicians from the early 20th century. And I also have one of the works of Franz Kafka, where a Kafka scholar is explaining some of Kafka's stories. And And this, I found this interesting. I love when the Criterion Collection has cool things included. And so this is like a talent test. It's called Famous Artist Talent Test from an art school. And throughout it, it has different designs and drawings, and it'll have 2 for each, and you're supposed to choose which one looks best, and you get graded on it. So looks like here he got like 90% on the first one, 100% on the second one, 90% again. And then there's this one here. I guess you take this head and then draw a scenario with it. So he made this woman a stripper. Okay, so another Terry's Wig Off documentary, Bluey. This one's about a black country musician named Bluey Armstrong. This is from 1985, and it's only 60 minutes. And then this last one is a collection of short documentaries by Blanc. And well, it reminds me a lot of these movies. The first one is The Blues According to Lightning Hopkins, actually. And Lightning Hopkins was a blues guitar player from Texas in the 60s. The next one is Creole, or Cajun people, and there's a lot of documentaries in here. I can't remember them all. I haven't seen them all. I've seen some of them. I think one of them's about just country people, then one's about like Cajun people, and then another one's about Creole people. There's gap-toothed women, questioning beauty standards in our culture. But yeah, this is really cool. I watched The Blues According to Lightning Hopkins and decided to get this. So that's it. Those are my July 2021 Barnes & Noble pickups. So thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe. Feels so phony saying that. I'm really bad at outros. So, okay. Bye-bye.